Hello, good evening, friends. After a long time, I'm making this video. I got busy in my work, so I could not upload new video. So today I have my friend Chitra with us, and she is doing PhD in biomaterials at the University of Manchester in England. So she will be discussing with us how she got there and which field she is working and everything. So I hope this video will be useful for you guys. So let's start discussion. Hi Chitra, how are you?
Hi Jaya, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I am also good. So how's going their life?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Now I'm into my 7 or 8 months of PhD. It's going good so far.
Nice, nice. So you are working on biomaterials. Which
Yeah.
area particularly? Any area? Like topic?
Yeah. So my PhD is in biomaterials,
Okay.
and I'm focusing on a project-based PhD. So mine is a project-based PhD where we are trying to, like, my project is basically on developing an efficient wound dressing material for treating chronic ulcers. And we do this with the help of electrical stimulation and then high throughput bioreactors. Yeah,
Interesting.
thank you.
Okay, so like you are in like 7 months, right? Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you apply? Like, and first of all, like your education background, like after your 12th, what did you do? Then, we'll see. We'll discuss about how did you get there,
Mm.
right where you are right now. So
Mm.
first, can you tell us about your education background, BSc, MSc, which exams you applied for getting into those
Mhm.
colleges and all?
Okay, so I completed my class 12th from CBSE with taking core subjects in physics, chemistry, biology, and mathematics, PCMB. And yeah, and after completing 12th, I had like prepared for an year for all the entrance examinations, like most of us preparing for medical and engineering exams. So I prepared for it for an year. And then during that time was when I was giving a lot of exams. And among that, I had given an exam called NEST. So its full form is National Entrance Screening Test. So basically that if you qualify that in exam and then so you basically get into bachelor's and master's courses in basic sciences. So I was placed in Vishwabharati University in an institute called ISCRC.
Okay.
So I then started my integrated masters in Vishwabharati then. So it
Okay.
was a 5-year course, and out of which, like, the initial 2 years, we were given options to explore all the various 4 subjects. So during my time, it was like we had given 4 options. We could like take majors in any of the 4 subjects, like physics, chemistry, life sciences, or mathematics. So I had opted for chemistry as my majors. And yeah, that's about me. And then yeah, I graduated in 2019 with an integrated master's in chemistry.
Okay, so like in your bachelor's, it was integrated program. So
Yeah.
during your bachelor's, like initial years, you have to study everything, physics, chemistry, maths, and biology, explore everything. Like after that, you will select your major, which you want
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
pursue further. Okay.
Yeah.
We
So
met at,
yeah.
yeah, go on.
Yeah. So we were given options of like exploring all the fields because most of us were kind of confused of which subject to take like further. So even I was confused by taking either bio or chemistry, but then finally I concluded to take chemistry as my majors. Yeah.
You told you were studying at Vishwabharati, then how you end up in ISC while we met?
Yeah. So with the scholarship, when I joined in Vishwabharati University, so I joined with the the NEST exam, like through the NEST exam, and then we were actually given a scholarship called the DST Inspire. So we were getting that for 5 years. So we had this option of doing internship every summer. So like I had tried to explore like various areas in the country, like doing projects in various places. And then always I had this in my mind that I always wanted to go to a topmost institute in the country, and IISc was one among that. So that's when I had made my mind that, yeah, for my final master's project, I am going to ISC. And then fortunately, I could make it there. Like I had individually applied to various professors, and out of which I was placed in one of my professor who was my master's thesis, who was my professor during master's thesis. So he had taken me during that time. And then I had joined, yeah, in ISC, yes.
So you did project like MSc project, you did in ISC. You all have that choice that you can do it in another colleges and all explore other research area like going on in different places.
Yeah. So that was like a good option which we had. So we didn't have to like confine ourselves into our own institute. We could explore various places. So yeah, so in that way, like I always wanted to come to IC, and then it
Yeah.
was lucky.
Yeah, it is really good actually to explore every call. Like when we are at one place, we can't get to know everything. Like what could be the best for us, what we are interested in, and what we are comfortable, and like interest matters a lot for all of us.
Yeah.
So, like, is this opportunity available for some of the colleges, like which you got through NEST exam, or in all? Like we can do project in different institutes. Any idea?
So I think most of the institutes where NEST is accepted, they do have this option of where you can perform your, like pursue your project and summer projects and then your master's project outside your institute. But I do know like some institutes where you are maybe required to like do few of your projects in the institute. But I'm not sure. But at least in my institute, we had this option of doing like all your 5 years, like you could explore. If you wanted to do a project in your institute, even that was open, but we could also like explore otherwise. Yeah.
So actually, this is also good. Ki, like after your when you are getting the NEST, giving the NEST exam and getting scholarship also throughout your program. So it's also a kind of independency we can get.
Yeah.
That is also very good.
Yeah.
So like after your masters, then what did you do? Did you started applying for outside, or you joined some project?
Yeah. So during my masters, I had this in my mind that I wanted to go abroad and explore by pursuing a PhD. But then in the process of applying, like I was kind of rejected from some places. So I was like, maybe I should also keep my options open and also try applying everywhere, not only abroad, even places in India. So I had like applied for DST Inspire Fellowship. So I could like fortunately make through that. And I also had this option open that I could apply for institutes in the country. Also, in the meantime, I was applying for various projects in places abroad, say like in Europe and UK.
Yeah. So then you got, and are there any written exams or some interviews only for like what is the process?
Sorry.
What?
Yeah.
Actually, we wanted to know what is the process for applying PhD outside in your field area or any field, like basically general.
Yeah. So on basis of the place where I am placed right now, so I'm in the UK, and for me to get into a PhD here, basically I had to like apply through to various scholarships. That was the initial thing which I had to do, because I did have like few people who wanted like showed interest to take, but then there was issue with the scholarships and fellowships. So I always had this in my mind that I wanted to go abroad only with a fellowship and not otherwise, not by self-funded. So then yeah, so I had first approached professors, and then my current PhD supervisor, she was happy to take me in, but then there was issue with the fellowship. So I had applied to a couple of them, and among that, the recent one which I had applied to was the one which I could make through. Yeah. So it's mostly so the one scholarship I am into right now is a university fellowship. So I had gone through the university website, found out a particular fellowship, and then applied So it was initially an application process and then an interview, and then you make it. Yeah.
Okay. And around which month, like, we should start looking for it, or which, like, if I'm doing MSc final year, it will be the good time to start applying, and which month we will get the forms and all notifications for applications. And do you remember?
Yeah, so it's always said like as early as possible. So when I think during your masters would be like the best time to start looking for all these, because maybe that's when you kind of have an inclination of going into particular field. Because for me, like the PhD field which I am working right now is a similar area which I did for my master's. So even in my master's, I was pursuing a project in biomaterials. So that's when I had this interest of going into biomaterials. So maybe I think that should be a good time to start searching. So as early as you like start your master's project would be like the right time to start looking for various scholarships. And then even I think in US the system is a little bit different. They have like various graduate programs, so you can directly apply to the schools and the universities. But in UK, Europe, it's kind of more project specific projects like PhD programs. So you can also like go into the university websites and then find out those kind of programs.
So throughout the year we can apply.
Yes, throughout year. Yeah. So
Okay.
in Europe and UK, I think in Europe, I think it's throughout year. Like it's mostly like project specific PhD programs. So whenever there is an opening, so they keep posting vacancies. So you can find out like that. And in UK, I think it's mostly intakes around like 2 times in a year.
Okay, like
September and in Jan, as far as I remember. If I'm wrong, maybe I can like share some links or something with you. Yeah. So mostly around that time. But I still feel that there are many project specific PhDs. So those are like all around the year. So if you start contacting like your professor and like a particular field, and you find a professor who you want to work with, and then you can always approach them with emails, and they will always like redirect you to a particular upcoming, say, intake or things like that.
If he's interested, if he has the scholarship
Yeah.
funding, then he'll like reply.
Yeah.
And some people say that we should like try sending mails to different professors. We should make some list and all of the universities which we are interested, and among those university which professors, then we should be like sending so many mails. Like even one person told me she has applied for 300, and then she was getting some only few replies, and then so like we should keep applying, right?
Yeah.
Is it kind of okay?
Yeah. So I think for some people, like different people have different stories. So the thing is, like some people get a PhD like as early, like they put like 2-3 applications and then they get into one place, like they get one place. For some, it might take a bit longer. So for me, like even for my case, it was something like I had to be very patient for a while. So I did not. So if I take the amount of applications I had put for like say PhD abroad, it's not like too many, not like say 300 or something. It might be like less, like say around 50 or 60. But the thing is, for me, it was more being patient and then waiting for an offer with with a fellowship. So as I had mentioned, so my professor, my current supervisor, she had this offer of accepting me, but there was no fellowship. So for me, it was like to be patient and then to wait for a fellowship and then to apply it for it. It took me quite a lot of time. So like for different people, it's all different stories. So yeah.
Okay, thanks. And any problems you faced during preparation?
Problems, I don't know, maybe after like I graduated in 2019, and then yeah, we could always blame COVID because we had like so much delay in many, in our application process, and altogether like the environment was not like, it was more of a life situation more than your career situation.
Correct.
So yeah, that could be like a
difficult
small,
to get visa.
Yeah, so during my time when I had to come like join for my PhD, like my visa was delayed a bit due to the COVID. So since yeah, so there were like many requirements for the visa, so some of which were delayed due to the COVID and related issues. Yeah.
And which documents are required for the application? Like we can start like preparing those documents like CV, SOP, or we have how many recommendations we require? Any idea? Do you remember when you
Yeah,
applied?
so during my application process, I had placed around two recommendation letters. So
Mhm.
so you could actually always go back to your
Yeah.
professors from bachelor's or master's and ask for recommendations from them. And also places where you have worked for your project, even they could be like a very good person to recommend you for projects because they have more idea of how you work in a project-based environment. So you can ask recommendations from them. So always it's good to have more number of people who can give you recommendation. It would be like a good thing because recommendations do matter a lot during applications.
Hmm.
And then your CV and say SOP or motivation letter. So even those are important factors because during my application, I did have to like submit a CV and then a small motivation letter because since it was in UK, I didn't have to like write a big statement of purposes, just a few page, like, just like 1 page or more than like around 1.5 page of motivation letter. Yeah. So those
Can
were
yeah.
requirements. Yeah.
Okay. So can you give us some idea about how to, write SOP or some idea, little bit like rough idea about SOP? How should we start for writing this SOP and motivation letters?
Yeah. So, say if you write an SOP or motivation letter, for me, it was like a gradual process. So
Mhm.
each time I sent my motivation letter to a professor, I did write some in a particular way. And then the next time I always had this thing of modifying it because you never know when it's good to go. So
Yeah.
I recommend that you keep changing it, you keep making it better each time you put your application. It do take a lot of effort. I know that because when right now telling all these things might be like very easy, but when I was in my process of applying, even that was kind of very stressful. Each time you apply, like putting in a lot of effort, and then you don't get a reply, you're like, no, this is not working. Am I not am I not good enough for that particular position? So you keep modifying it each time. And a particular flow of your SOP or motivation letter would be like to explain what your interests are, and then to like give a brief idea of what you have pursued before, what kind of projects you've done, and like what is that it interests you in that particular lab or that professor's lab where you're applying to, and then what you could do to the lab, like what something of that sort. Yeah, it might
What
not be like very specific. You might know many things. It would be like small things which you could you know yeah, think about. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. And we discussed about scholarship and how are the expenses there? Like, is it too costly? How much, like general PhD scholars, how much scholarship they are getting, general amount for the PhD scholars there in England, UK?
Yeah, so in University of Manchester here, so I get around uh, 1,300 pounds per month as
Mm-hmm.
a fellowship, as monthly fellowships. And that is like quite a lot of amount to stay here, like which covers your expenses, your accommodation. And you could also save a bit of money
Yeah.
if you don't spend too much on, roaming or things like that. Yeah, you can save quite a lot of money. Yeah. And even there are many options in which you could avail additional financial support by taking up teaching assistant positions here. So currently I'm working as a teaching assistant in one of the course for undergrad students here in the university. So
Mhm.
I get paid for my support which I give for the course. And even there are other options. Like I think once you start your PhD, you kind of start knowing more options where you can like save money or say like get additional financial support. So the universities, I think here are like really supportive in that sense.
Okay. So it's like apart from this monthly fellowship, you can
Yeah, yeah.
earn more money. Like
Yes, yes.
okay, nice. And any problems you face there in adjusting, like there, like for some time, like language issue or weather change, anything in
Yeah,
particular?
so we do speak a lot about weather here, because here, at least in Manchester, the weather is like so unpredictable. So it could be like bright sunny today, and then after say 5 minutes it could be like a dull day. So weather is a thing which we always discuss, but then it's just a matter of few months or something, like you get used to the place. And yeah, the time when I came in was really very cold, so it could be like extremely cold, like from places in India, some places in India. So yeah, that could be a reason. And then language, I think, since as an eligibility for you to like join a PhD in UK, or I don't know about other European countries, but yeah, in UK you need to show your eligibility in one of the in English language by either giving TOEFL or IELTS.
Oh,
So it so I think it will cover some of your language uh, speaking abilities. And then maybe like, even I'm not a very good or a pro in English speaking, a pro English speaking person, but then I think it's a matter of fact, like you learn to get you learn. Yeah.
so these test, English test you mentioned, like TOEFL and IELTS, right? Or
Mhm.
GRE. These are mandatory. Even if you are from, even if we have done our graduation from a English medium like institution, like
Yeah,
IIT,
so
ISU, and even.
I think for undergrad courses, if you show a proof that you have done your courses in like your like schooling in English speaking syllabus like that, so it should be fine. But otherwise, for say like PhD or for masters, I think that it's mostly like you have to show an eligibility by giving an English language test. At least for my case, I had to show eligibility in English speaking. Yes.
Okay.
And here in UK and Europe, we don't need GRE.
Hmm.
It's, I think it's for US. So in UK and Europe, it's mostly TOEFL or IELTS. Yes.
Okay.
And it's mostly like fundamental speaking and writing eligibility which they want to check. So if you would give a bit more time, if you like, for some people they might feel like a bit less confident in the language, so it would be like a few months practice of like giving few uh, tests, like pre-tests before the exam. That should be fine for them.
Hmm. Okay. And doing project in ISC had benefited you in any way, like getting PhD in abroad, or
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, so I would dedicate my PhD, like I think I don't know a lot, to my master's thesis, like project supervisor, and he was an ISC, obviously. So yeah, so it was during my master's that I met my current supervisor. So I had a chance to in person meet my current supervisor when she had come to attend a conference in IISc. That's when I was really interested in her work, and then I wanted to join her, and yeah, that's how it started. So IISc is the place where I got my option. Yeah.
can you little bit elaborate about the specifications we can do while making SOP? Any?
Yeah, for writing an SOP or a motivation letter, so you get a number of sources from internet where you can find a basic structure for it. So so maybe we can share some of the links here below so that you can refer those. And in addition, what I want to add in is to always, even though if you might like have a reference of an SOP or a CV with you, with which you start making your own SOP. So it's always better to add in something of your individual perspective or something which defines you more. So if you add in few sparks like that in your SOP or your motivation letter, that will kind of give an upper hand for your SOP. So that is something which I would like to add in. Yeah.
Okay. So Chitra, like the program which you are currently doing, PhD program in biomaterials, what is the duration of this?
So my PhD program is for 3.5 years. Yes.
Yeah. So the scholarship will be for 3.5 years.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And
It's a time bound scholarship. So mostly it's not extended anytime, but in cases there is a exceptional case, so where you have to extend it for 6 months, maybe then your scholarship might be extended. Yeah.
okay. And as you told earlier, first you have to write the mails, then you have to go through the application forms, then there will come the interview. So we want to know about the interview like panel, how are they, what questions generally they ask, and how you can prepare like the resources.
Yeah. So the interview panel basically wants to know you know how a person you are, and mostly like to see your personal skills, and then how you can tackle a situation where they might ask you like simple questions like regarding like a paper you read and how you felt about it, what are like the new things which you find in your particular field of research which you're going to do. So it's all very simple questions they ask you. They always make you feel comfortable. It's not like a very intense interview they have. Yeah. So it's more, since my PhD was a project based one, mostly questions were asked from my particular project, and it was not like a broad subject based interview. Yeah. I think even in many of Indian in institutes in India where we apply for PhD, it's mostly like I don't think I'm not sure, like the interviews which I had given, they always made me feel very comfortable and I never felt scared like that. So they always want to know you in person and how much interest you have and like what you can contribute to the project. So it's mostly like that. I'm not sure about the other ones, but yeah, this was like my personal experience of giving interviews in India. Yeah.
Yeah, they make us comfortable, and also, but the difference is, I guess, they will ask from us like subjects also, I think, like
Mhm.
topics of our masters, some they ask some questions, but they try to give us hint even if we don't know the answers. So
Yeah, yeah.
can you tell us about your stay, like are you staying in hostels or some outside you have a flat?
Yeah, so currently I'm staying in one of the university accommodations, and those are like most of them are like near to the departments where you work in. So I prefer to stay somewhere near to the department. So yeah, and you do have options of like taking private accommodations, which are also like even affordable than some of the university accommodations. So yeah, you have like a lot of options of staying. Yeah.
And food you are preparing by yourself or you're getting?
Yeah. Yeah, so food I make by myself. And I think the most of PhD students do have like
Yeah.
self-catered, like stay in self-catered halls or say private accommodations. Yeah.
Nice.
As I was mentioning about the various English language tests which you need to give. So the one which I had given for my application process was TOEFL, and these English language tests, they don't need you to like have a very good score in all these exams. It's all like very minimal scores which you need. So during my case, my application process, it was just in TOEFL, it was just 90 marks out of 120, which was the requirement that I needed to qualify. And I'm not sure about what the score limit was for IELTS, but even that was a minimal amount. So you don't need to be having like a very uh, high profile in, English speaking ability, but it's all a minimal requirement. So it is like achievable. Yeah, that's
Even
what
if
I
it,
want to specify. Yeah.
even yeah, even if someone may like get a certificate from institute stating that English, stating that this is English medium college institute. So I think that then also it will be necessary to have this TOEFL exam or IELTS.
Yeah, so as far as I remember for my department, that just by showing the school or college uh, certificates that we did a bachelor's or master's in an English speaking university, that was not enough. I had to like give a TOEFL or any in English speaking exam, but it also varies from department to department. Say in some departments, maybe they might not need you to like give an English language requirement, but in some departments, they might need you to have like much higher score. So it depends upon what department or school you want to apply to.
Okay. And you were saying about some Europe also, like in Europe, if some it is not mandatory, right?
Yeah, so I've heard about like from some of my friends who did mention that like uh, it's not in some places it's not a very mandatory thing to have an English language test. Maybe there, if you show a certificate of you if you had pursued a English like a master's or bachelor's in an English speaking university, so that would
Yes.
actually
Okay.
work. Yeah, but maybe if I'm wrong, I can also like give you more information or share some links with you which could direct you to that.
Yeah, we will put that in the description box, so
Yeah.
you guys can find it. So guys, I want to say one more thing. I'm very happy to see the love you have shown to my videos, and keep loving that. And before ending our session, I would like Chitra to give some advice, as I always say to my guest, that some advice to the people who are who are trying to apply or who are trying to prepare for some exams. So, Chitra.
Yeah. So yeah, first of all, thanks, Jaya, for giving me this opportunity again. It's lovely to like share what you know and then help others. So yeah, so what advice I would like to give, I don't know whether it's an advice or something, but it's all like from my personal experience. I would like to say that always be like, so if you want to pursue a PhD, like make sure that you want to pursue it because it's like a long journey. So you might have like ups and downs. So you should always have this motivation inside yourself, where if something goes wrong, you should be able to, pat your back and then, start again. So first be motivated and then start applying. And application process might seem, difficult during the process, but it's a matter of time. Be patient, because for me it took a long time. So I did have a lot of times when I was very low. I felt very low. I'm like, okay, maybe I might not be able to make it. So it's all matter of patience and then keep applying. And yeah, so, and never feel that what experience you have or what uh, educational background you have can limit you to a particular field, because nowadays everything is interdisciplinary. And say for example, like I did a majors in chemistry, and now I'm pursuing my PhD in materials. So you always have this option to like move into different fields. Only thing you need is to have an interest in that particular field. So yeah, never restrict yourself to any particular field. You always have options to explore. Yeah.
This is really a good advice you gave. Like we can switch to different departments also,
Yeah.
so we don't need to restrict ourselves.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you, Chitra, for your time.
You're
Seriously.
most welcome. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So if anyone has questions regarding how to apply PhD in UK, Chitra will share her email ID also in the description box. So you can directly contact her also, or you can put your questions in the comment box. We'll be happy to answer. And I hope so. We'll meet next time. Bye bye.
Bye.